So I'm in East Tennessee in Knoxville, kind of gathering my thoughts. A little frustrated, Mark. I think yeah, I've been on with you before. I'm sure you can understand kind of where I'm coming from. Um, I so one thing I see referenced often in my Twitter feed, but I remember was in April of 2023, there was a press conference on the White House lawn where Biden was photographed holding a printout with a reporter's name, a photo, where they came from, and the question they would be asking. And I have never seen anyone from the media address that. Um, I think, Mark, you've covered this very well, especially in the past few weeks leading up to books being released. And I do think most of the blame goes to White House staffers, people that were around Biden. I find it fascinating hearing from people in his cabinet that say that they don't remember seeing anything that would lead to them believing that he had any mental decline, which at that point just indicts them because then the cabinet wasn't meeting enough. Um, but I've never seen anyone address that. So that, unless it, I don't remember that being, a single instance. I think you can go back to the press conference. The question did line up with the card that was printed
Right.
out.
Yeah.
So who takes accountability?
Right. For the president being fed the questions. Is that what you're asking?
But
Yeah.
the press fed the
Right.
questions.
Right. Okay.
So then I
Yeah.
I worry kind of that there's
Yeah.
no accountability being
Yeah.
taken.
Great question. So Ben, how common is it for a White House to try to get the questions?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I saw that story and was actually probably felt basically the way you do. Like, that's crazy. That's not how it's supposed to work. And I don't really know what happened in that specific case. The other thing that happened very similarly was when he was doing some urban radio during the campaign. It emerged that they'd been writing the questions basically for radio interviews. I don't know. I mean, it seems like it was a fairly widespread practice with this White House. We did an interview something about a YouTube show that Pete Buttigieg had gone on, and his team had required that certain elements be removed before it aired, and which just feels like a very strange and among other things wildly old-fashioned way to relate with the media. But I do think you're right that they were. I mean, they were obviously avoiding putting Biden in unscripted situations at all times. I actually don't know. I can't remember the details of that specific story well enough to give you an answer, but you're not, obviously you shouldn't do that. I mean, if you're a journalist.
Rufus, do you want to address this?
Unfortunately, and I in no way dodging the question. It just was never even close to my lane. So
Yeah.
I really just I was never part of that,
Yeah.
and I was never dealing with the press at all.
Celia, the only thing I'll say is every administration does this. They call the reporters and say, "Hey, if we called on you, what would you ask?" The Biden White House did it in a more structured and specific way, but it's not they're not the only ones who've done something like that. Because they're trying to keep the boss from embarrassing himself. So yeah, thank you. Grateful to you. That was a delicious video experience. I think you'll agree. Now, what you need to do in return for getting to enjoy that is hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a thing.